And I'm very proud. I put my record as president against any president at all. You notice that 12 of the 10 leading presidential historians rated me pretty good up on that list, and the guy I ran against rated him last.
According to Daily Beast.
So you had
Watch
your,
me.
you have your grandson.
Oh, did the historian drank you pretty high?
Well, it feels good. Look, that's my son Bo's son, and Bo started coming here with me about the same age, and so it's he wanted to be where his dad had been and what he's doing. He just graduated from high school. He's going off to college in the fall, and I'm really proud of him. And he is the son of his father. So.
Do you have anything to say to the press secretary?
Okay,
and that's enough. Okay,
we heard for the first time there from former President Biden.
Okay, that's enough of that. They got.
Why bother bash?
Yeah.
Why even show up anymore? Dana?
I mean, they have. I mean, it is. It really is a hopeless situation. It really is. I mean, it is just incredible. Like, they cannot let that guy on TV. Like, that guy just has to stay home.
I'll bet you
forever.
Bill
It's
Maher,
unbelievable.
Bill Maher will have a comment about how great it was to see Biden. Well, like, where was this Biden?
Where was this Biden?
Because that thing, like, now that the presidency of America is just like a world's greatest grandpa contest. Like,
right?
Who do you want to be your grandpa more? Your fake grandpa that is not doing anything for you. That's all it is. And you're supposed to fixate on a personality and nothing else. If you tell people about the things they actually do, that is a conspiracy theory.
Right.
When I go, dude, I was telling Rogan about hate, and Rogan's a guy who's open to a lot of stuff. I was telling about Haiti like a couple times ago. I did it, and he was like, "Oh man, you got these conspiracy things." We would have gotten my crazy conspiracy. I didn't even get to say them because normal news people think is fake.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, this is just otherworldly bizarre. Like, they're never going to be no matter how bad the Republicans fuck shit up, and the Republicans are fucking shit up left and right. I grant that all day long. They're not going to be taken seriously as an organization for as long as the stain of this is with them. The fact that they were vouching for this guy, it's just incredible. And then when you watch him now, he has cancer, and you come out and you watch, and the reporter says, "Yeah, you seem fine." What are you out of your mind? Are you out of your mind? It's it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Fine now. Well, where was that during the debate? I was like, was he on something? And then Hinchcliffe told me, and I bet he's right. They stopped giving him his stuff for the debate because they wanted, whatever was propping him up like that. They didn't give it to him that night.
Well, what I've heard is that actually the hormone therapy that they give you for prostate cancer can cause things like decreased balance, mental fog, cognitive impairment.
He might have got the brain fog from
that's what I'm thinking, is that he had because I don't care what they say. I do not care what they say. I do not believe that they just discovered this brain cancer a few weeks ago. I do not believe that.
Not brain cancer, prostate. I thought his brain.
Brain fog. I fucked that. Sorry.
You mean his brains that hold his ball?
Sorry, I fucked that up. I do not believe that they just found the prostate cancer a few weeks ago. I don't care what they say. Dan Bongino can say he has video of the diagnosis. I don't care what they say. I do not believe that.
Why would you believe that? Who would believe that?
Who would believe
You're checking his health nonstop.
Right. The president of the United States goes for routine medical screenings all the time. He's an old man. Don't you get prostate exams from like 40 now? Is that what they're recommending? It's like, you get prostate exams.
Easily preventable, takes a long time to become a problem kind of cancer.
Right. So they ignored it for that. I don't buy that. I do not buy that for 1 second. I think he had this from before he became president at all. And I think the treatments are part of what fucked him up. Because look, my mother has Parkinson's, and with her, it was years of subtle things you notice that are wrong, like having to repeat yourself a bunch of times for her to understand something, right? And just her having trouble with basic comprehension. It doesn't go from the way we saw him in 2016 to when he's on the campaign trail in 2019. I'm not saying that's impossible because he's an old man and things can deteriorate quickly as an old man. That's possible. But I
Well, he
don't
has
buy
something
it.
else,
And
too.
I don't buy that I don't buy that they just discovered the cancer when he left office. That's just way too convenient to
You know
believe.
what?
And given the fact that,
Yeah.
that the hormone therapy for this cancer can cause the exact kind of symptoms that we're seeing, pretty rapid onset version of them. Yeah, man. They covered this up for a very long time. I think throughout his entire time in office. I think he was sick the entire time.
Yeah, that's probably the least thing wrong with him the time he's
Yeah.
in office. I now I don't know if it's true or not, but it came from pretty connected people. But he had something called frequent aneurysm syndrome. Some people have said I've never heard of that. I looked it up. I couldn't find it, but it's what it says. So remember, he had like 3 or 4 aneurysms that we know about.
That
Those
sounds
don't
pretty
get
dangerous.
better. You get if you've had that many, it doesn't. It's not like those leaks aren't going to keep springing. You know.
Yeah, indeed. All right, let's go to Misha for some chats, please.
You know, I don't have any chats right now.
Oh, okay, that's all right.
But while you said it,
Speechless.
what was that?
People are speechless from that frequent aneurysm
Exactly.
syndrome.
They're speechless.
Bombshell that I just dropped. It's not verified.
Do we have any
the
more
one
ads?
chat I will say. Oh, sorry, Keaton.
Do we do all of our ads yet?
We did do all of our
cool.
ads.
So no more breaks. Okay. Sounds good.
But if anyone is in Montreal tonight or Ottawa on Sunday, go to jimmydore.com for tickets. There's my chat. Let's see if anyone snuck something. Nope, that's it. I don't have a chat.
All right, no
And
problem.
nothing.
We will move right on along then. All right. Welcome to the Jimmy Dore Show, everybody. Keaton and Kurt in for Jimmy this week while he is. Oh, we just got a chat right now. Oh, could have used that a few seconds earlier, just chilling. That's all right.
Save it up. It'll be worth it.
Yeah, we'll save it up. Yeah, adjusted for inflation. Right. All right, here we go. Welcome to the Jimmy Dore Show, everybody. Keaton and Kurt in for Jimmy this week while he is on the road. So, Jake Tapper has a book out. I don't know if you guys know this. If you watch CNN, he spends a lot of time at his side gig as a broadcaster plugging the book and hawking the book. The Daily Show put together a pretty funny montage of him using his main job as the sandwich board to promote his authorship. So let's take a look.
We're back with breaking news in our politics lead and a brand new excerpt from my upcoming book with Axios' Alex Thompson. It's called Original Sin. I'm not sure if you've heard of it. It's on Biden's decline. It's called Original Sin. I'm sure you've heard on May 20th. That's Tuesday. Original Sin. That's coming out in 3 weeks. On May 20th. That's just 19 days away. In 1 week and 1 day. Coming out in just a few days. Comes out Tuesday. You will not believe what we found out.
But I will.
Don't news people have to tell you what they know when they find it out? Isn't that the difference between news and a secret?
Yes, that is a good point. It's not really news if you're saying I'm going to tell you in a couple weeks what I know now.
It's old now.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. At that point, it is no longer news, but it is pretty shameless profiteering, especially since, as we all know, Jake Tapper was part of the very cover-up that this book exposes. And
what's the original sin? That he sucks at his job of being a newsman?
Well, here's the thing, man. I mean, Biden scooped him because I think the original sin was the prostate cancer. Like, that's what I think it was. And if you notice, if you remember, the announcement that Biden had prostate cancer came out just a few days before this book dropped. And I don't think that is a coincidence at all. I think they decided to go public with the diagnosis in order to, number one, scoop this book, right? Because
yes,
we
right.
got this expose in there. Oh, there's all this spicy information in there. Well, how's this? I've got cancer. Is that in your stupid little gay book? I don't think so.
That's a real Joe Biden move.
Your book seems kind of shitty now, doesn't it? Right? Yeah, that's a real Joe, but that's like the petty kind of Nixonian, ego thing that is characteristic of Joe Biden. And second, they probably figure, well, if there's going to be a book out about what a liar I am, maybe I'll get some sympathy in advance of its release. So I think it was double pronged, their rationale. But Jake Tapper's CNN show hits lowest ratings since 2015, despite new Biden book buzz. intense publicity tour. So that's right.
Intense.
It did not pay off for him, at least at the first job. Lowest ratings in a decade. CNN host Jake Tapper had his lowest rated month in nearly a decade in May, despite a whirlwind publicity tour giving him an onslaught of attention. Tapper and Axios reporter Alex Thompson's new book, Original Sin, President Biden's Decline, Its Cover-Up, and His Disastrous Choice to Run Again, was released in May to much fanfare. The book helped set the recent news cycle with new accusations of the Biden White House hiding the truth about the former president's fitness for office. To promote the project, Tapper has embarked on a wide-ranging book tour that landed him on a variety of podcasts, talk shows, and cable news. The book has also been promoted relentlessly across CNN, but the spotlight on Tapper has seemingly failed to give him a boost in viewership. The lead with Jake Tapper averaged 525,000 total viewers from April 28th through May 25th, shedding 25% of CNN's audience in its time slot from the same period last year in the process. By comparison, Fox News offerings The Five and Special Report with Bret Baier averaged 3.3 million viewers from April 28th through May 25th, trouncing Tapper. Yeah, that's like 6 times the numbers. MSNBC also beat Tapper among total viewers, as programming on the Progressive Network averaged a little over 1 million viewers in the time slot. As a result, Tapper settled for only 11% of the cable news audience share, while MSNBC managed 21% and Fox News commanded 68% during the time frame. It was Tapper's lowest rated month since August 2015. So this is why his ratings are in the tank now. So Joe, famous lib account here, Jake Tapper is CNN. You should be ashamed of yourselves. This is in response to the Jon Stewart.
Wait, is she mad because they wrote the book finally, or that's not because?
No, well, this is what it is. So the libs are upset that he's bashing Joe Biden. And then everyone who's critical of Joe Biden knows he's full of shit and that he knew all this years in advance, and he just sat on the information to deceive the public and then cash in on that deceit later by profiteering
all
off the
Democrats. They all, because when they say how Kamala ran a great campaign, my favorite line of all, only cost $1 billion,
right?
To lose and go on, hawk to his mom's podcast instead of Rogan's. But all the dumbest moves you could think is because those people were making as much. They knew it was a loser.
Yep.
Cash out as much as we can.
Yep.
And they achieved $1 billion scam.
Oh,
and so 100%. Now the
100%.
scam is done. A bunch of them want to keep making. They're going to put out like limited hangout stuff, like this book. Mm-hmm.
Oh, 100%. 100%. That's exactly what happened. Now, Richard Angwin, you talk about a dumb tweet. Jake Tapper's timing with Original Sin is a masterclass in insensitivity, capitalizing on Biden's cancer diagnosis for book sales. CNN's ethics are as compromised as Tapper's judgment. The cancer diagnosis came out like 3 days before the book release. What do you think? They wrote the book in 5 hours? Like, that's just an insanely stupid comment.
He's being paid, obviously. He's obviously this is a masterclass in being paid to tweet something. That's how I look at it.
Tweet nonsense. Yeah. Leslie 007 with the American and the Ukraine flag in the bio. That's how you know you're in for a banger. It's such a somber day as we learn about the serious health condition of our former president, who is featured in this blockbuster new book by Jake Tapper, available on Amazon. It is disgusting, all of it, especially with a deranged madman with dementia in the White House.
Oh,
now,
my God.
Yes. Between the lines says CNN is a total disgrace. This seems unbelievable to say, but here it is. CNN is worse than Fox News. So those are all the libs.
No, don't. Yeah. You can't take that back.
Well, this is what I mean. They're boycotting the show now because the libs are pissed off that he insulted Joe Biden. And of course, on the other side, you have what is obviously true. And this is obviously the question that comes to mind amongst people with 2 brain cells to rub together. What did Jake Tapper know, and when did he know it? This guy says, I am surprised he didn't name it If I Did It. Yes, that was the name of the OJ. That was the name of the OJ book. Could be called If I Hit It in this case.
Let's say he had written the book when he should have. Why? Right? We all could see it. You don't need a book. Me and Dunnigan were making videos about this for his entire time because it was so funny, and I would have to get Kyle to slow his impression down to be as slow and senile sounding as Biden. What are they talking about?
No, it is I'm surprised CNN isn't more pissed at him for doing this, because you talk about using one gig to really hype another gig at the expense of the first gig.
They
Like
had to
they
sign
pay
off on
you,
it. They had
pay
to
you,
have.
well, they had to, but it's so stupid. I mean, look at the backfire. Like, how could you allow him to do this? The whole book
Oh,
undermines his job at CNN. Like,
do they make money on it
why?
somehow?
Like, you have a news anchor who's covering the presidential race for 2 years. He's on record, on camera, multiple times, gaslighting the public about how Biden is good to go.
Mhm.
You allow him to write a book about how he's been using your airwaves to lie and gaslight the
They're
public
trying
for
to
2
pivot.
years? Yeah, like, what did you think
CNN
was going to be the result of that?
this is on, I think this is for CNN. I think probably this is like those Navy SEAL books, like Lone Survivor, that the Navy just wrote for the dude and said, you go say this, because the
Right.
real story is not like the movie that made me tear up like a chump.
Oh, the Wahlberg
That's
movie?
what this is. CNN's got to pivot now because they failed so bad. So now, just like Cenk Uyghur, the man whose name it feels racist to say, he pivoted. Oh,
Right.
populism's not bad. They're all pivoting now. So Tapper is a tool bag. He would never independently write a book. He wouldn't even report the news when it happened. CNN probably has a piece of it, I would guess, and it's for their image. Like, we're the more honest than MSNBC one. That's what they're trying to go for, a niche. Just like paying money to learn how to talk to men. This is like another
right, exactly.
it's the same inept pivot.
Yeah, but as someone who does a show where we piss off Democrats and Republicans in pretty much equal measure, I can tell you, if you're running a big multi-million-dollar news network, that is not the way to drive ratings. There's a reason why Fox does well and MSNBC. I mean, they have not been doing well recently, but there's a reason why they beat Tapper in that time slot, because feeding red meat to Republican partisans puts asses in seats. The same thing is true on the other side. Feeding red meat to the blue MAGA people puts asses in seats. They're trying to thread a needle here. And it's one thing if you're trying to thread the needle in an honest way,
right.
like we try to do, which is like, hey, we're not team red or team blue. We're just calling it as we see it. Okay, that's a tough row to hoe, because most people want confirmation bias.
No gang
It's a tough
alliance.
row to hoe if you're doing it honestly. But here's the thing. He's doing it dishonestly. Like, he's doing it sleazily. He's trying to appeal to the nonpartisan, just objective truth seeker. The whole premise of your book is that you were a massive liar for 2 years when it mattered most. That's the whole premise of your book. And as Jon Stewart says there, if you have to tease out the news, hey, in 3 weeks, you're going to find something out that I know now. At that point, you're not in the news business anymore. And so, of course, it was going to fuck CNN.
They're all
Of course, it was going to
actors.
backfire on CNN. So how could they greenlight it if, in fact, they did? Which I assume you're right. I assume they would have to sign off on this, because who knows what the fuck he's going to write. You can't just let a guy go rogue like that. I would assume.
CNN would then plug the book every chance he gets.
And you let him plug.
There's
the
not a
book
chance that he's
Right.
not off road on this one in any way, shape, or form. He wouldn't. They probably want him to do it. There's a strategy, you could see it there, because it reeks of like an idiot that doesn't understand what, like, trying to pull a strategy but doesn't really understand what the problem yet still somehow,
Right. Indeed. All right, Misha, I know we got some chats now.
Yes, we've got chats now, everyone. First up, just chillin'. Have you guys heard about the mass child grave site they found in a cemetery in New York City that Dr. Fauci had hundreds of foster kids that he murdered in pharmaceutical experiments buried? Holy S. No, just chillin'. I haven't heard that. Thank you for the chat. My real name, here's a chat for you. Where are Kurp's next shows? What is that? Isn't it? Go to Kurt's Instagram. Isn't that where his next shows are? Kurt, do you know where your next shows are? We'll let him chime in a little bit. May Jest, starting on time threw me off, Keaton. I missed the first 15 minutes. Oh no, May Jest. Well, hey, Keaton's back on Monday, so expect us to start on time again. And I believe Russ will be with us on Monday, everybody. Corn Pop, the baddest dude. Remember how Biden never even had a cognitive test done? Also, some say the aneurysms gave Biden his ability to sniff children so much. Oh, that makes sense. All right. Thanks, Corn Pop, the baddest dude. And now back to Keaton.
All right. Yeah, we have Russ on Monday, and we have a great guest lined up for Monday. I don't know if we're supposed to announce them in advance, so I won't. But we're very excited about Monday. That should be a great one.
I
All
think
right,
we can announce in advance. I don't think there's a problem with that if you want to do that, Keaton.
okay. Well, it's up to you. You're the boss here while Jimmy's gone.
Ooh,
We have
I'm
Gabor
the boss.
Mate. We have Gabor Mate booked for Monday. I'm super excited about that. That is going to be an amazing talk. So I can't wait for that.
Yeah, I'm excited
So
too.
that's the news for Monday. All right. We're just waiting on Kurt. So if you got any more, you can read those.
Oh, yeah. I do have a couple more. Let's see. Thank you, Corn Pop. Just Want World Peace sent several Rumble rants. I didn't hear you read them, so here's some more money. Hoping this sticks. Enjoying the show from Chicago. Just Want World Peace. I don't know what happened. There's been some glitchy streams today on all platforms, it seems like. And so yeah, I never saw those earlier chats, and then eventually had to refresh the page to get new chats, and I guess everything got lost. So sorry about that. Thank you for sending another chat over. This is not the 21st century says, what do you think about the pyramid / Sphinx synthetic aperture Doppler scans?
What?
I think the tunnels go all the way to Gaza from Giza, and some of the Hamas tunnels are ancient, hence war for the Holy Land.
I think that the pyramids are some kind of bodega based on watching Zowie Hawass yell at Rogan on his, like a bodega owner. My friend, Bobby.
There's
The
there's
pyramids
your
were bodegas.
answer.
You heard it here first.
Bodegas, yeah.
There it is. Thank you. This is not the 21st century. And now back to Keaton and Kurt.
All righty. Welcome to the Jimmy Dore Show, everybody. Keaton and Kurt here in for Jimmy while he is on the road this week. All right. Want to give you some background on this segment here because our friend David Hogg got himself into even more trouble this week by mentioning this in front of a rolling camera. But let's fill you in on what we're talking about here. So it is not a very well kept secret in Washington, D.C. that Nancy Pelosi is an absolute boss when it comes to luckily picking stocks. Nancy Pelosi's portfolio beats top hedge funds with 54% gains in 2024.
Not Dan Crenshaw. She don't beat Dan Crenshaw, believe it or not.
Oh, really? He's number one?
Dan Crenshaw beats her, yeah. Well, last I checked, maybe she's come up now.
Huh. Well, same dynamic there, right? Insider knowledge that comes with being in Congress, because these top money managers are almost impossible to beat, but she beats them every year. So this was a report from January of 2025 saying, yep, in 2024, sure enough, she beat the top hedge funds in America with 54% gains. The Nancy Pelosi stock tracker account on X.com, formerly Twitter, recently posted that California representative's investment portfolio returned 54% in 2024, beating the popular Inverse Kramer account's 43% gains to become the top portfolio on the Autopilot investment app. The Inverse Kramer tells you to do the opposite of what CNBC's financial advisor Jim Cramer tells you to do. The team behind the Pelosi tracker created Autopilot. It helps investors mimic the trades of popular hedge fund managers and politicians. Pelosi's portfolio gains also beat top hedge funds, which spend vast amounts of money hiring top quantitative analysts and data scientists to build leading AI and machine learning models to maximize profits, but they can't do it as well as Nancy. So a couple weeks later, it came out Nancy Pelosi's husband sold a boatload of NVIDIA stock right before it was eviscerated by Chinese startup.
She just flew to Taiwan, and when that happened, did she not? She had that weird trip to Taiwan, and China was like, "Don't come to Taiwan, Nancy Pelosi."
I did not hear of that. Maybe I don't recall it, but yeah, I certainly believe it.
Yeah.
This was from July of 2022. Nancy Pelosi's husband buys over $1 million of computer chip stock weeks before vote on industry subsidies. In 2021, famous quote here. We play this a lot on our show. Nancy Pelosi was asked if Congress should be banned from trading stocks. Her response, no, this is a free market. That's right.
Congress and their spouses be banned from trading individual stocks while serving in Congress. No, I don't know to the second one. We have a responsibility to report in the stock, on the stock, but I'm not familiar with that 5-month review, but if people aren't reporting, they should be. Yeah. Because this is a free market and we're a free market economy. They should be able to participate in that.
They should be able to participate in that. Again, just totally lost on her is the idea that when you serve in government, you're supposed to be a public servant, right? You're supposed to forego participation in the free market of that kind.
She probably works for the CIA that probably controls the stock market. Did you see what I sent you? The mad money of Nancy Pelosi?
Oh, no, I didn't. Did you?
Yeah,
did
just
you text
text
it?
it. Yeah.
Oh.
It's a 1 minute thing of Nancy Pelosi.
I wish I had that. Maybe we'll get into that.
Batshit money. I sent it to you. Put it up.
On Monday.
People aren't reporting. They should be. Yeah. Because this is a free market and we're a free market economy.
Free market economy. We got the right to participate. Well, David Hogg, who is in hot water, they're going to vote on whether or not to remove him in June. He was recently the victim of a Project Veritas sting operation. Here he is explaining to the camera person unwittingly that, of course, the Pelosi stock profiteering stinks to high heaven.
You think it's ironic that to the regular Democratic Party, he was beginning to sound more and more like a school shooter?
She's actually very good at her job. I don't agree with the stock.
He's becoming the lonely, young, single man.
Nobody likes him.
Nobody likes him. Yeah,
we got to burn it down.
Yeah,
we can have a
that's true. Yeah. He's like Joaquin Phoenix now. All of a sudden, that's him to the Democratic Party now. Yeah, exactly. That's funny.
I would say Pelosi's actually very good at her job. I don't agree with the stock trading stuff. I mean, she gets better returns than almost every hedge fund in this city. Every year. Some of these members of Congress make trades that are like way too well timed to not have like insider knowledge. They happen to be some of the best financial analysts in human history.
Have you spoken against that?
I've talked to them, but it's also like, I know that if I pick that fight, it's going to be harder for us to get gun control passed. So I pick my path. Like the hardest part.
Spoiler alert: you haven't got gun control passed anyway. That's the Democrats for you. Yeah.
Is that the hill you want to die on? That's what's wrong with everything. Is these idiots all think like that?
Oh yeah, and I gotta say, man, like I can't imagine. I know he's a young guy, but like, the knives are out for you, right? Like, why would you be just talking like this in a coffee shop?
Construct. His dad, I can't remember who his dad worked for, but when I say construct, I mean like an industry plant type of thing, or where somebody's an influencer out of nowhere,
right?
And they're young, and their dad's some rich guy involved. His dad's somebody in either FBI or something, and like how Taylor Swift is a bullshit construct. It's not, industry plant. The kids call it. That's what he is,
right?
About my job, I just want to burn everything down because it's all so corrupt. But you got to pick your battles and slowly build your momentum.
Yeah.
This goes on for
joining us now, DNC Vice Chair David Hogg.
We're not going to go after Pelosi. One, we wouldn't beat her, even if we wanted to. That's part of it. But two, it's an unnecessary fight to pick when there's other members that are far weaker. And I would say Pelosi's actually very good at her job. I don't agree with the stock trading stuff.
You don't?
No. Some of these members of Congress make trades that are like way too well timed to not have like insider knowledge about. And it's a huge problem.
Do you think that's how Pelosi is worth hundreds of millions of dollars?
Yes. I mean, she gets better returns than almost every hedge fund in this city. Every year.
And you don't think that has to change?
No, it does.
How would you change that?
You just ban members of Congress from owning stock.
So
have to put their assets in a blind trust.
You're going to prop up candidates who oppose that? Is that your goal, to prop up candidates?
I mean, in part, yeah.
Yeah. because it's a long haul. There's 435.
I mean, at this point, I don't know how you don't start to suspect that maybe you're being recorded or maybe something's not right. He just keeps asking him like open-ended question after question. Yeah, exactly.
Well, would you like to sign here? I'd love to sign. Remember, I have anal warts.
Yeah, exactly. Like by now, you would think, his alarm bells will be going off. Yeah, exactly. Like you're going. Yeah, the guy keeps pushing.
By the time he ages to understand, it's interesting because you get to see how much is like on purpose and whatever with him.
Yeah.
And you're like, by the time he hits the age where he gets it, you've aged out of the demographic. Everybody gives a shit. That's why they want these young, like these new young leader with their backstory of whatever. That's what they're trying to promote. Yeah. And it's all like AOC is one of the best prototypes, or Justin Trudeau, these young, hotter leaders.
Right.
And they're all like bullshit influencers. And it's they might as well be in a boy.
Well, maybe he figures he's got some Nigerian prince money coming his way, and that's why he can afford to speak this loosely because he seems gullible enough.
I wouldn't normally say this.
Yeah, I wouldn't normally say this.
I just invested in a gold mine in Colombia, so I can.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, can you give me a ride to the Western Union after this? I got to pick up a wire transfer for $300,000.
They can get me the money, but I gotta get him $3,000 right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Yeah, and most likely 430 of them are doing the same thing, which is why they don't want to. I don't know, but I'm just stating.
I think it's a pretty good guess.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Just conveniently. They happen to be some of the best financial analysts in human history.
Have you spoken against that?
I've talked to that, but it's also like, I know that if I pick that fight, it's going to be harder for us to get gun control passed, so I have to pick my battle. Like, the hardest part about my job is I just want to burn everything down, because it's all so corrupt. But you got to pick your battles and slowly build your momentum.
That's right.
He's still a school shooter, dude.
He's the
school shooter.
He is in the club now. He's in the club, and that just gives you a snapshot of the way a lot of these people really think. And because he's so young and so naive, they were able to get him on camera saying this stuff. I can't imagine at this
person
point.
I've seen exposed by Project Veritas. Here's the irony: all that stuff he said that's true. That's what's going to get him kicked out of being in the DNC.
Of course, yes, of course, that's what's going to get him kicked out. You can't
I don't
say
really
that.
object to what he's saying, other than the being a punk about it and picking your battles, because the time for that is past. We're at World War III almost.
Right.
The time for that, like, save up your political capital and keep your relationship with power. Is everybody stupid? It's over.
Well, this is what people don't get, and this is what people who work in these environments don't get, and this is how the sort of PMC insulates itself, not even consciously. They insulate themselves by way of practicing politics in this way, living in Washington, only talking with kinds of people who are privy to the inner sort of machinations of this. Like, that's the only world
Would you
they
say?
live in.
Would you say it sounds like a breakaway civilization, except, not on Mars?
Well,
right here on
I mean,
Earth?
that is essentially what it is. I mean, when you look at the class divide between the top 1% and everybody else, and then you parse it further, the top 20%, and you can parse it even further than that. The top, 32%, 37%, what is it? 63% of people can't afford $1,000 quick cash emergency. If the brakes go, I can't afford to fix the brakes. That's most of the country. And then you have this crop who lives like this, and they are completely insulated from the consequences of how they go about doing politics. Like, it is it's completely naive to, I wish we could burn it all down, but we have to work within the system in order to get gun control passed. What gun control they pass? Like, even on your own terms, what reward did you get for playing ball? And now that this is out, they're going to make up some bullshit about how we violated the gender diversity rules, but that's nonsense. This is why he's got to go. And at this point, he's got to go. I would be absolutely shocked if he stays.
Yeah, absolutely. Misha says you got to play the thing or add it or something. What did you? I don't understand what you texted me, Misha, but
what did
Nancy
you text
Pelosi.
me? Oh, you want me to play Kurt's Pelosi video?
It's done again, but we made this a long time ago.
Oh,
I want to dedicate it to young David Hogg.
Oh, this is your video? You just texted it to me 5 minutes ago. You didn't text it to me earlier today, right?
I forgot about it until you brought up her amazing. Because her saying people can participate in the market was what.
Oh, got it. Okay, all right. Hang on.
It's her Jim Cramer show.
Yeah, let me look this up. Hold on. We can edit around this when we clip it here. Okay, let's do. Oh wow. Okay. All right. How Nancy? Okay, I'm just gonna search for it now. I'll screen share it. No problem.
Yeah, this is his Nancy Pelosi. I think is a pretty fine Pelosi.
Okay. All right. So this is Kyle Dunnigan. Okay, beautiful. All right, we will make this happen right now. Then you guys can edit this in however you want. That's up to you. Okay. Here we go. Full screen there. Volume check here. Come back here. Screen share here. All right, here we go. All right. So let's take a look. Okay, so set this up, Kurt. What is this again?
Nancy Pelosi stock trading show. This was before the Ukraine war.
Okay, got it. Here we go.
You're back with me, Nancy Pelosi, just in time for the lightning round.
That was easy.
There should probably be a law against Congress people trading stocks, but we just haven't gotten around to it. Okay, let's get back in. Hank from Toledo, you're on.
Booyah, Nancy.
Booyah.
I read your husband bought Google just before the antitrust bill vote. You guys made $5 million?
Mm-hmm.
So was that like luck? Or...
Yes, it was a miracle. Thank you, George Floyd. Okay, Mark from Illinois.
Booyah, Nancy.
Booyah.
Hey, should I hold on to my Tesla position before the EV bill passes?
Sell.
That was easy.
A little birdie told me I'll be voting the other way.
Great tip.
You newbies at home, don't be discouraged. I lost a lot of money in the market, but things really turned around when I started making lures. When we come back, I'm going to jingle all my jewelry in your face. You'll like it. I shoot my show
Nice.
alone in my...
All right, that's the Kyle Dunnigan show. Yeah, that was cool. That was good.
He picked that. He has some weird vocal range, so he had started doing Pelosi. I'm just trying to figure out how to do it, and like it's like all day we're like watching her, and then he went in a room and came out and did this funny ass thing.
That was good stuff. All right, I'm going to set this up separately. You might want to clip this with that or use it separately. That's up to you. But I figured we had to do this one. Keaton Weiss here with Kurt Metzger filling in for Jimmy here at the Jimmy Dore Show. Welcome, everybody. So, the New York mayoral primary is getting a lot of the headlines in New York City. But you should know Anthony Weiner, jailed for sexting child, eyes political comeback in New York City Council. That was from December, but he is running for office. Yes, he is.
He's trying to get Andrew Cuomo
a comeback. Well, he's for the city council. He's not running for the mayor, but he is seeking office again. He is getting back in the game, and he is making the rounds both on TV, where he appeared on The View, but also on the podcast circuit. So here he is on the Adam Friedland show. Yeah, which I encourage
Adam asked about Frazzle Drip. I'm kidding. Come on.
To take a look at. This was pretty good. This was pretty great. Here he is on the Adam Friedland show defending Nancy Pelosi and Congress trading stocks with insider knowledge. This is great work, as is usual from the Adam Friedland show.
Pelosi, knowing Nancy Pelosi was going to be someone early on, like I supported Nancy for whip and majority leader and whatever else.
You
so
know,
like that kind of stuff.
She's like a real wolf of Wall Street. She really knows how to pick them.
She's very good. She's
incredible at it.
She was very good at her
investing.
job. She was very good.
No, I'm just
that.
Talking, she's unreal.
Yeah, but people have
how
money.
How the hell does she know what stocks to get behind?
A lot of people are rich. Yeah, are you not familiar with that?
I'm making a joke about how, like,
and I'm not playing along.
Why?
I'm not playing along.
You think it?
Okay, so the art of the Adam Friedland show is that in this case, that he comes off like an asshole because he is one. But their interview with Chris Cuomo, that is like Internet Hall of Fame material, because Chris Cuomo is such a loathsome figure. He's such a loathsome guy, but they managed to make him likable for those 45 minutes or whatever it was.
Hassan Piker, and Adam told him that he should go and fight Sam Hyde like the Iron Sheik. Like he should put on the Sheik outfit.
No, I didn't see that one.
Like,
No, but he is really good at this. But yeah, this guy is just too incorrigible to look good on here. So he digs in. He says, "No, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it." So here he is defending insider trading.
People are
I'm
rich.
like 15-year-old
Are
pussy.
you not
I'm not
familiar
buying
with
it.
that?
I'm making a joke about how, like,
Yeah, and I'm not playing along.
why you think that members of
What's your
Congress
dick?
should own stocks?
Why shouldn't members of Congress own stock? It's the most transparent fucking body on earth.
I think that you can,
Every fucking word is published somewhere. Every
do you
word
think
that's said.
that if you have an investment in something,
Go ahead.
and there's a piece of legislation
Yes.
that would threaten that investment, do you
Yeah.
think that that is a conflict of interest?
No. Because
What the fuck are you talking about?
because every fucking piece of legislation is incredibly public, and anyone who's investing based on pieces of legislation is not going to
I'm
do
not
very
saying,
well.
let's say you already have an investment, and this would threaten that investment. Is it morally
There are pieces
correct?
of legislation that threaten and enhance every investment on Earth. Go ahead, give me an investment. I'll tell you, there's legislation on both sides.
I don't think for the relaunch. I don't think this is good.
Okay, let me tell you this.
This is a good one.
And this kind of like
You
superficial
shouldn't.
bumper sticker
There's
knowledge
so
of
many.
politics.
It's not
I'm
bumper
so
sticker.
over it.
There are so many.
This is like wafer thin, man. Oh
Anthony,
my God, the conflict
It
of interest.
doesn't matter
because
being
you're-
right. It doesn't matter being right? And it sounds bad to people that members of Congress come in with not a lot of money and leave incredibly wealthy.
Dude,
okay?
my dude, listen, I understand.
Yes, brother.
People have a wafer thin, virtually translucent knowledge of politics that gets reinforced by assholes like you, and I'm supposed to be, oh yeah, that's up
Why
to
is
them.
it? Why is it asshole?
Pull your dick out.
You're choosing the wrong correlative. The correlative is that these are people that are exposed to a lot of rich people. So the idea that investing on like inside information, every single thing that goes on in the economy, sometime or another, the United States Congress touches upon. So basically you're saying, well, you've got all this inside knowledge about everything on earth. Literally, as a member of Congress from Brooklyn, I was voting on agriculture policy. Didn't mean that I have inside information on soybean prices. It's a stupid premise. Now, if you want to say...
Then why does she outperform all of the top money managers? Which is an impossibility. They have the best minds for this at their disposal. They have AI algorithms that they train. And yet she and her, I mean, look at Nancy Pelosi and her husband. What, you think they're outsmarting the best money managers? It's just so transparently.
But, okay, they have inside knowledge. We put it that joke in Kyle's video. They know how they're gonna be voting ahead of time. That's some inside knowledge that's not public, right?
Right.
And
Exactly.
the reason
Yes.
there's a thing called conflict of interest, which Anthony Weiner, boy, Adam really credit to Adam because I don't think Nick works on the show no more.
No.
Last I heard. So that was Adam. Really good job because he brought the Carlos Danger out.
Right.
He made him switch to Carlos Danger.
Yeah. Yeah. He brought it out of him. Well, the thing about this guy, okay, so this guy is now, like I said, he is running for city council. The thing about Weiner is that people don't realize because, you know, I lived in New York City at the time that Weiner ran for mayor. He ran for mayor
Yeah.
of New York City, whatever
Mhm.
it was.
I
It was the
remember.
year that de Blasio won.
Yes.
And what people don't, because everybody, you know, shits on de Blasio, rightfully so. And people wonder when like tourists would come, because I was working as a tour
I
guide
acted with
when,
him.
what's that?
I acted with de Blasio.
Oh, yeah? Where?
On Horse and Beat.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was like confronting him like a conspiracy guy.
Oh, wow. It's funny because when I was a tour guide in New York City and people would ask, how did he get elected? And I tell them de Blasio really got elected by accident because what happened was Weiner was running for mayor that cycle and Weiner was winning. This is the thing, like even all
He
the
was
sex
popular.
scandals, all the shit.
Everybody liked him.
He was very popular. People liked him. He was winning that primary, and it was him against Christine Quinn vying for the top spot. They were running against
I
each
did
other.
a roast talking about Christine Quinn somewhere not long after that. And they
Well-
said she's the first openly gay
Right.
Irish. And I go, listen, I'll accept the gay part, but openly Irish, not in front of my kid.
Yeah, right. Now we thought we had the Tammany Hall machine broken. We're not
Yeah.
putting them back in power now, lesbian or not. But they were vying for the top spot. Weiner was first, she was second, and I remember because I used to walk around the village all the time doing tours. They hated each other. There was a bitter feud between the Wiener people and the Christine Quinn people. They were first
lesbian
and second.
hated Wiener.
Yeah, right. Exactly. The lesbian hated Wiener. Who does he saw that coming? But it was so bitter between those two camps that even though Quinn was in second place when Wiener had the scandal blow up right before the primary, his support imploded. It didn't go to Quinn and went to de Blasio, who was like third. De Blasio was like headed for an embarrassing loss.
That's
and
just
he
losing more Wiener.
was just the beneficiary of Wiener imploding. So that is how de Blasio became mayor. But the point is, Wiener will not go away. Wiener insists that he have a seat at the table. He just keeps coming back. And even though the mayor race blew up, now he's going around running for city council. That's why he's
Wiener's
making
been exposed twice.
Yeah, exactly. You had
the posters you could make to run against them are endless.
2 underage sexting scandals, and yet he's coming back for a third time. Because I was wondering, because I like the Adam Friedland show, so when I saw him here, I was like, okay, this is kind of a funny choice for a guest.
Yeah.
But then I saw him on The View. I'm like, oh wait, he must be plugging something. He must be promoting something. And so then I Google what's going up with it, and no, he's running for city council, so he is on the ballot, New York City.
The frazzle drip rumors alone, I would say you'd be out of public eye a little bit. Those are pretty bad.
Not him. He is a man of great confidence.
I would want to be out of politics after stories like that went around about me, where I'm like, dude, people think I engage in the craziest stuff, and it's not worth it for me.
Right.
He's jaded enough to think there's no such thing as conflict of interest.
No, and he wants to be on the city council. That's not even like a prestigious position. City council. What do you got to run for city council for? Wait, you can't just take your money and go home at this point? But not him. He's a lifer. All right, Misha, do we have any more chats? We got one more segment, folks.
We've got some chats.
All right.
We've got the chats. Hey, Reds 33. I still love Mood Dang. Thank you, Reds. Mark Pugliese. I saw an African lady lives in the same house as Kurt. Oh, is that right? Thank you, Mark. My real name. Oh, hey, Kurt, my real name says kurtmetzger.com/Lander just shows a blank white page.
Lander?
Lander. Yeah, I don't know why Lander.
Okay. I used to have kurtmetzger.com. I don't have it anymore. I have kurtmetzgercomedy.com. I used to have it. Now, the last I heard, gay-friendly realtor Kurt Metzger somewhere in LA has. I don't really understand that designation, by the way. Like, are there like no homos realty is he competing with? I don't know, but that's who had it for quite some time. And then there's another Kurt Metzger who makes Christmas music. He has an album called The Warmest Christmas. And I used to say I was him because I thought it was funny, but I don't think he liked that.
I can see that. I can see that being a little bit bad for his business potentially. Or good for his business.
That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
You're welcome. I said you're welcome, Kurt.
Well, my real name, I guess you got to go to kurtmetzgercomedy.com. And I've also heard you mention Instagram, Kurt. Don't you have your shows on
go
Instagram?
on my Kurt Metzger Comedy Instagram and my Twitter you can follow me on.
All right, there you go. There you have it, my real name. And back to Keaton.
All right, I am back. All right, folks, we got one more segment on the day for your viewing pleasure. Welcome to the Jimmy Dore Show, everybody. Keaton and Kurt here in for Jimmy while he is on the road this week. All right, this was a fast developing story, everyone. A very fast developing story. I don't even remember which show I did this on, if it was Jimmy's or mine, but Elon Musk expressed his dissatisfaction with the big, beautiful bill just a couple days ago, saying a bill cannot be both big and beautiful. That is a contradiction in terms.
Doge is fake.
So, I was like disappointed to see the massive spending bill, frankly, which increases the budget deficit, not just decrease it, and undermines the work that the Doge team is doing.
I actually thought that when this big, beautiful bill came along. I mean, like, everything he's done on Doge gets wiped out in the first year.
I think a bill can be big or it can be beautiful, but I don't know if it can be both. My personal opinion.
He's such a nerd.
Yeah.
Kyle does him very funny too.
Oh yeah,
so cool.
He's tough to nail. That Dutch accent is kind of hard.
It's not quite that, but it's very, dude. You could tell that he was disappointed. Because he's, again, don't forget, a hardcore Asperger guy.
Oh yeah,
and so you can see he is disappointed because as soon as this happened, and we reported a while ago about it, I'm sure you guys did too, about how Doge wasn't cutting anything. Bannon came on the show and told us you don't go to the Pentagon, it's worthless.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So people are crashing their fat scooters into trucks and all this for nothing.
Right.
But I think he didn't know, because as soon as he realized the big beautiful bill, all of a sudden I started seeing a lot more. We got to go to Mars. Like
Right.
I think he got so disillusioned that
Oh,
he's
yeah.
like, oh no, let's just go to Mars. He's got an Occupy Mars shirt.
Yep. Oh no, it's very much get me the hell out of here kind of thing. And that is what he's doing. So the Trump War Room posts, Elon Musk, I look forward to continuing to be a friend, an advisor of the president, continuing to support the Doge team. And we are relentlessly pursuing $1 trillion in waste and fraud reductions, which will benefit the American taxpayer. But of course, he is out at
I will
the
continue to
government.
visit. I will continue to visit the White House. Oh, will you bring your
Continue
son?
to drink from the minibar. I will continue.
Bring your son with the robot name.
Yeah. I'll continue to sleep in the guest house at Mar-a-Lago. Yes, because that is what I am owed. But I will not have an official position here any longer. Here's Elon Musk bidding a bittersweet farewell.
So I look forward to continuing to be a friend and advisor to the president, continuing to support the Doge team, and we are relentlessly pursuing $8 trillion in waste and fraud reductions, which will benefit the American taxpayer. That's it, really. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Great
job.
Thank you. Thank you. There's a cart for your bags if you need it outside the kitchen.
Nick will show you out.
Yeah, show you out. Yes. A disillusioned Musk, distance from Trump, says he is exiting Washington. I wish we had some violence for this. Yeah, exactly. Elon Musk took a swipe at President Trump's signature domestic policy legislation, saying it would add to the national deficit. Well, it's not signature anything yet because it hasn't passed. I mean, it still has to get through the Senate, which is going to be hard. He complained to administration officials about a lucrative deal that went to a rival company to build an artificial intelligence data center in the Middle East. God damn it. Spurned. And he has yet to make good on $100 million pledge to Trump's political operation. So
Want to hear something else?
Has not come
Now,
yet.
I know, because my friend, I do a show called News for Women. I produce with Chloe, my friend Chloe LaBranch. She has a buddy who's from Abu Dhabi, who's an arms dealer, and they poach Elon's talent. And guess what country doesn't have no tariffs on nothing? Abu Dhabi. So he's getting his stuff poached. That has to be through Trump's people setting that up. He's probably upset in many ways.
Yes. He seems pretty upset. He seems pretty bitter. Mr. Musk, who once called himself the president's first buddy, oh, that's sweet, is now operating. He's my best friend. You were my best friend. Is now operating with some distance from Mr. Trump, as he says he is ending his government work to spend more time on his companies. Mr. Musk remains on good terms with Mr. Trump, according to White House officials. But he has also made it clear that he is disillusioned with Washington and frustrated with the obstacles he encountered as he upended the federal bureaucracy, raising questions about the strength of the alliance between the president and the world's richest man.
Do people think he's the world's richest man? I just want to ask, is everybody this fucking dumb that they really believe the richest man is Elon Musk? Do you think you would get to know the name of the richest man?
Well, he's the
It's in
world's
Forbes,
richest
so what?
mammalian man. The world's
No, he's
richest
not. No, he's not the richest man. Not
warm-blooded
by a
man.
long shot.
I'm
Not
talking
by a
about-
long shot.
So you think you don't think the people richer than him are like the reptiles, like the shape-shifting lizards? You think there are
I think
warm-blooded
MBS, Putin.
vertebrate mammals who are richer than him? Is that what you're saying?
Dude, there's you ever hear of the von Merkensteins?
No.
Yeah, that I promise you they're richer.
All right. I'll take well, maybe Trump should hire him next. Von Merkenstein should come. He
He's
should
a
take
front
over
man.
Doge.
Look, he's a disillusioned. I see this with everyone. It's like once I hit my 40s in comedy, the same disillusionment of the business, I watch all these other people go through it. And he's a guy who's a little bit spurgy, to say the least. And he really was like excited that we found a lot of waste. And he's just some dumb nerd. The whole media made it out like he's the power behind every stupid liberal, especially in New York. Oh, Elon controls Trump. Do people think that nerd was in charge? No, he's yet another nerd that is being taken advantage of while he's there. Did you watch Barbenheimer? This is how it works.
Well, the thing about Elon is because he donated so much money, you notice Trump doesn't go after him the way he goes after the other people when he pushes
what you
back.
get.
Right? He remains very diplomatic.
You might as well
Trump
be
was
Jack
the
Ma.
Yeah, exactly. Mr. Musk was the biggest known political spender in the 2024 election, and he told Mr. Trump's advisors this year that he would give $100 million to groups controlled by the president's team before the 2026 midterms. As of this week, the money hasn't come in yet, according to multiple people familiar with the matter, who spoke on the condition of anonymity to describe the behind-the-scenes dynamic. The billionaire's imprint is still firmly felt in official Washington through that effort, an initiative to drastically cut spending that has deployed staff across the government. But Mr. Musk has said in recent days that he spent too much time focused on politics and has lamented the reputational damage he and his companies have suffered because of his work in the Trump administration. Well, I say he earned it. I think I probably did spend a bit too much time on politics, Mr. Musk said in an interview this week with Ars Technica, a tech news outlet. He added, it was just relative time allocation that probably was a little too high on the government side, and I've reduced that significantly in recent weeks. I've tweaked the dials in my back. In February, Mr. Musk leaped on stage at the conservative, this just seemed like just yesterday, at CPAC with a chainsaw and remarked how easy it was to save billions of dollars, sometimes in an hour. Yeah, like it's wild, he said. Mr. Musk's Doge team has repeatedly inflated its cost-saving efforts, at times posting erroneous claims about ending federal contracts that they later deleted. Oh, yeah. No, that was definitely move fast, break things. Most of what they said they were doing was absolute bullshit. Yeah.
Right. But like, it's just like Kash Patel and all these people think they're going to do what, not Bangino. I think he was rotten from the start, but maybe Kash Patel, but they all are like the young, knock down the house, AOC. Remember that documentary on Netflix?
Right. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Jimmy saying force the vote. AOC's slogan.
Right.
Now Jimmy's violent for saying the slogan she came up with.
Right.
How long is everyone going to fall for this stuff? And what I'm amazed at, especially now that I don't know if you know, but Joe Rogan's Club is the seat of Western power now.
Yeah.
But people come in, I can't believe I meet. I meet all these Intel people. I blurt out MK Monarch right in their face immediately to see how they react. I meet all these people, and what I'm blown away by the most is there's a bunch of people that when you see it, you go, "Oh, you didn't know," and that's worse than them being in on it from the start. That's when you realize how screwed this is, because they compartmentalize all the way up the pyramid, and all these people have power over, like people are lying their way up the chain. So besides spying on you, they're really not getting good information at the top. And now you're seeing it like kind of break apart, like Michael Malice's book, White Pill. It collapses under its own weight eventually because it gets absurd. Like we're well into clown world now,
Certainly, yes. This week, Mr. Musk told the Washington Post that it was an uphill battle trying to improve things in D.C. The cuts he wanted to enact were far more difficult than he expected. Oh, that's right. And a lack of interest in learning more about the bureaucracy he considered toxic impeded his efforts, particularly on Capitol Hill, according to people familiar with his efforts who spoke on the condition of anonymity to describe internal discussions. Well, the reason that is the case is because, the cuts that they were making were largely symbolic in nature, and very, very small, obviously, as a percentage of the overall budget, which it was obvious from day one, if you weren't going to touch the Pentagon, there was no point in doing this at all. And yeah, they said they were going to. They say a lot of shit. I mean,
they didn't
Donald
cut
Trump
those
says
things
a lot
either.
of shit. No,
the Biden things got funded in the continuing resolution. Thomas Massey always, that guy's always honest with it. So back then we knew. None of this. Biden's horseshit still funded. Do you think there's two teams anymore, everyone? Does everyone still think that?
Yeah, no. Well, USAID just got folded into the Department of State under Rubio. Like this is what they want to do. They want to consolidate power as much as possible within the jurisdiction of the executive branch, both as a technical matter and even in more abstract ways as a cultural matter. Don't forget, Trump defunds Harvard. Trump expected Harvard to bend the knee like Columbia did. So that's why he didn't want to disempower Harvard. He wanted to bring it under the practical virtual control of the executive branch. Do this, this, and this, control where these students come from, what they think. You have to pass an ideological audit and you'll get the money. Now, Harvard
American Idol
told him to go fuck himself, and so he told it right back to them. But the plan was to bend them to his will, which he had good reason to think he could do. Columbia did it.
Yeah.
So the whole project of Doge so far has been, to the extent that they have made cuts, they have tried to consolidate operations as much as they can within this small group of people so that they can dictate day-to-day operations more than they could control some bureaucrat who is under some other jurisdiction. And that was what USAID was, pardon me. And as far as the Pentagon cuts, yeah, they were not going to go there. Obviously, the budget calls for Pentagon increases. When it comes to his efforts to upend the bureaucracy, Mr. Musk insisted last month that it is possible to meet his goal of slashing $1 trillion of federal spending. But it's a long road to go, and, it's really difficult. It's sort of how much pain are the cabinet and is Congress willing to take? Okay, or are like ordinary people who need like Medicaid.
He's talking about that. Yeah. He's talking about Social Security and Medicaid.
Yeah, exactly.
Unbelievable.
Like that's what you're talking about.
Oh, I guess my mother will just not get her Social Security she paid into, and that's fine. Great, great.
Right. The reason that's a tough vote for Congress is not because it inflicts pain on them. It's because it inflicts pain on ordinary people who they need to vote for them. And the fact that you didn't see that coming is indicative of the sort of ideological bent and sort of like philosophical persuasion of a lot of these big tech people. They just don't think shit. It's move fast.
AI.
Things. Yeah,
they are autistic.
Right.
I don't know how anybody thinks they didn't make these people on purpose, because when you think about them, they're the perfect consumer. You can tell them what gender to be randomly online.
Right.
They're good with tech. They're great employees, right? They're weird with personal relationships, so you don't have to worry about that at the office. You tell me that's not an intentional thing they were hoping to come up with?
Oh, of course. Of course.
They love Disney crap no matter how bad it is.
No, the whole creation of that economic sector is so that people like Elon can get rich in their gym shorts. They never have to go outside. They never have to deal with anybody else. They're
all the FTX kid.
Right.
And they don't understand why you would. Right. They don't even get what Zuckerberg's like, people don't have friends. We'll make them computer friends.
We'll make them computer friends. Problem solved. Right. Isn't that right? The solution is not how do we make people more socialized. It's we'll create a friend for you. Exactly.
How can we make a more realistic vagina to put?
Yeah, right. Because it can be done, but it requires dealing with a lot of complaints. Yes, a lot of complaints from people who need medicine who won't be able to afford it if you did what you wanted to do.
An AI will tell them to go fuck themselves.
Right, go fuck themselves. Exactly. He said it remained to be seen whether there was sufficient political will in Congress and elsewhere to actually do that. So, Newswire, White House to seek just $9 billion in spending cuts from Congress out of the $175 billion in claimed savings found by Musk's Doge. So remember when they said it was going to be $4 trillion, and then they said it was going to be $2 trillion, and then they said, well, now it's going to be $150. Now they're claiming $175. White House to seek just $9 billion at the end of the day for all that.
That can't even keep Ukraine going for 3 hours.
Yeah, yeah, right, exactly. Arnaud Bertrand says they went from the original promise of cutting $2 trillion, 28% of the budget, down to $9 billion, 0.1% of the budget, 1/10 of 1%. More perfect union. The richest man on earth who has cost hundreds of thousands of people their jobs wants to play the victim.
He's
Very
not
sad
the
on the way
richest,
out.
and that's why he couldn't cut anything. If he were the richest man on earth, they'd have to do what he said, but he's not. I know people love saying it, but you can't see that he's not just from this alone.
Interesting point. Arnaud Bertrand says, I was making this point the other day. This is why the so-called Department of Government Efficiency is very unlikely to achieve much. Because when you look at who actually works for the U.S. federal government, the immense majority, about 80% of people, are related to defense and national domestic security. The U.S. is, more than any country on earth, a military and police state. Yes. Ding, ding, ding. Prize for Arnaud. And given
breakaway civilization, that's what it is. It's not out in outer space. It's right here in front of your dumb face.
Oh, yeah. It's all around us. It's all around us. Absolutely. The people who can afford to fix their brakes when they go are in
might be in
what
outer
is
space too.
essentially a breakaway civilization. That's essentially what it is, right?
The rumors are they have a whole Star Trek that they just didn't tell you. You remember Star Trek where they're traveling the galaxy?
Right.
So the conspiracies, the people, just to tell you the psychological where everybody's at psychologically, is that they've secretly just had one, but they just imagine that in Star Trek, they just didn't tell Earth.
Right.
Nobody in Earth got to know there was a Star Trek.
Right. Exactly. And given Trump and Republicans' agenda of a stronger military, stuff like solving the border crisis, deporting illegals, etc., they're likely to very much increase jobs in those areas, not decrease. That's right. Hard to see the U.S. ending up with a much smaller army under a Trump administration. The bill, the big, beautiful bill, calls for $45 billion with a B dollars in new immigrant jails. That is 5 times the Doge savings that they are putting in the bill. Again, when you have a police, this is exactly it. This is exactly it. I mean, it's a kind of a relief, honestly, that they're building them here. I guess they can't get CCOT 2.0 built so fast. So at least people will be here where they can maybe someday get some due process if we ever have any semblance of democracy ever again. That would be nice. We can hope, can't we? But yeah, that's $45 billion. That's $45 billion. That's 5 times the Doge savings right there. I mean, so this is a very important point. That's why it's a very important thing that he said. A police state, you can't have a police state and a gutted government. You can have one or the other. You want to dismantle the establishment, you have to disassemble the police state infrastructure, not military notwithstanding, just the police state alone. Just the police state alone. You can't enforce that while ushering in this libertarian dream. It's a contradiction in terms. This is why I always thought like the libertarians who were hyper excited about Trump and Doge. I'm like, but the other part of this is building a deportation machine, which is a police state. You can't build a deportation machine without assembling a police state. That costs money, even whatever philosophical differences aside, that requires a major investment. Investment that far transcends. If you look at a distribution of resources, that far surpasses what you're going to save by firing the blue-haired lady at USAID.
Yeah,
like,
was
it was
it sound
always
like
going to end up this way.
It sounds a lot to me like venture capital, like America's a shell company. Okay, so the real country of these people, whatever this 1% is, put their investment in and they're getting their investment back. If the doors fall off the plane, F you. If anything goes wrong, this is a shell company. It's not a real country.
Right.
Okay. Exactly. That's all. It's real simple. If you look at it that way, you could tell, you can see what it is. It doesn't add up the numbers. You're right. Exactly. So why would they be? It's not a mistake.
No.
They're like, oh, it's just greed. Yeah, no, it is. But also they know what they're doing. That's why they're getting rich from it. So
of course.
The people invested, they're getting their investment back and they're pulling out this loser of a company.
Right. It's impossible. It's impossible. What the vision of Doge was impossible to implement on these terms. So he finishes. So if 80% is what we're talking about, if 80% of the government is essentially out of bounds for Doge right from the get-go, it's largely pointless initiative from the standpoint of broad government efficiency. Exactly.
Mars has less gravity, so it'll probably work better there. It's just there's too much gravity here.
Right. Exactly. But that's it. And they're not even talking about leaving that 80% alone. It's not only that it's out of bounds. It's they want to increase resources for that. They want to build more immigration jails. They want to increase the Pentagon budget. Right. So it's not just that that's out of bounds. It's they want to add to that. That
Bernie
means
Madoff could not stop. He had to keep it going until he was caught. He could never stop it. He could never disclose it. He could never stop it. He had to keep it going. No choice. That's where we're at. They have to keep the scam going. It's just that simple, dude. They're going to run it, and hopefully a war starts. Why are they trying for war so hard? Because what gets us out of this when they do this? Right. $2 trillion's missing from the pen where we can't account for it. Oh no, 9/11. Well, we got to move. So here, it's like a fire in California. It's all the same thing. You burn it down for the insurance.
Yep. Exactly. It's like the sporting goods